Hey everyone. Hey Veronica. Good to see you. Just felt like talking about the case today. I also just watched a little over half of Ruckus Rox's video that he put back out, and it's weird to learn things about yourself that you didn't know. All new news to me. Hey Louise, how you doing? So it's like I don't even know what Alex is talking about, but Alex, hit me up on Discord or something. You know, you can ask me whatever, or you can come on here. Like everything said on there about me is all new news. So it is what it is. Look, true crime is a weird place to be a creator. People, yeah, Ruckus. It's Ruckus's latest live from a few days ago. He made it. Yeah, I'm confused too, Phoenix. Hey, Cleveland Rocks, Royal Wee, Angel, Louise, Professor Pug, hello. Westeros Will, good to see you. Hi, Lol Nerd, Amber. Melissa Wildcard, Teresa, welcome. Hi, Just Deb, Ruth, hello. Kimosabe, Jojo. So, just being a creator, like people will work behind the scenes and like either make stuff up or like make fake accounts with your stuff, or man, it's weird. I don't know. I'll finish Ruckus's thing later, but so strange. I do want to show you guys something from a video of mine I took back in 2019. Let me share it here. What's going on? No, I so Alex was saying like I know who the killer is or something, and Don Toriti and Julie Melvin and Skip Jansen, like I've talked to them, but we're not like BFFs or in secret discords, or I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. They talk a lot about sextortion, but don't explain it. I don't know. Yeah, Alex Voorhees. I used to be cool with him. And then I just didn't talk to him for like, I don't know, like a year something. And I didn't know there was any problem until today. I mean, I heard when it went live, I heard people were saying like he was talking about me, but other than that, I was like, okay, whatever. It's just weird. It's just weird stuff. Every creator goes through it at some level, and as we're getting closer to the trial, people are just getting crazier and weirder. It just is what it is. Even people who just chat in chats, you know, it's the smartest people just watch the shows and never comment or make channels. That's really what it is. Well, yeah, it would bother me if any of it was like stuff I knew what it meant, but I it's so ridiculous to me because I have no idea what any of it was. It's like, what is happening? Hey, HC, you're awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. Appreciate it so much. Do I think it's going to start next week? Yeah, I think we're gonna get a full trial. Um, I don't I don't see why we wouldn't. I don't think a plea deal is going to happen. Hey, Peter, good morning. Um, what'd you miss? Nothing. You can always rewind and go double speed if you want to hear it. Tell us who the real killer is. I don't know. Some people think it's Richard Allen. Some people think it's the Kleins. Some people think it's Ron Logan. Some people think it's somebody else. Some people think it's Anthony Greeno. I don't know. Was he speaking my? He kept saying HTC. Oh, maybe I misheard it. I thought he was saying HCC. I could be wrong. Hey, Pink Poppy, good to see you. Yeah, contacting people's exes, and you know, I I say this kind of too often because it never seems that dating people you meet in the true crime community, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. Just don't do it. Only one true crime person per relationship. Like it's it's a bad idea. Okay? That's just my advice. Take it or don't. It doesn't matter. Um yeah, we may never ever know the truth. And that's a harsh reality, unfortunately. We don't even know if it was more than one person. Um, don't do it. That's right, Professor Pug. That's right. I saw that. And there's a lot of people that threaten physical harm to people on the internet, threaten to kill them, threaten to kill their wives, uh, call the cops to go to their house to, there have been YouTubers who have been killed by cops showing up to their houses. That's a real thing in the United States that's happened more than once. People call people's jobs. They fucking do all kinds of stuff. It's like, dude, it's just the internet, people. It's just people giving their opinion. That's literally all it is. It never has to get to any kind of weird level like that. So I don't know. I just work, I play chess, I play music, and I watch Delphi content and occasionally make Delphi content. It's like I have a family I spend a lot of time with. It's some people have nobody. Some people literally just sit by themselves on the internet all day. And Delphi, they watch Delphi 24/7 and comment and do weird shit. And I don't understand it. During the pandemic, me and a group of friends spent a lot of hours, late nights, researching rabbit holes, and we had so little information back then. And but then the world moved on, and you go back to normal. But I think the pandemic had some bad effects on people's states of mind, and COVID actually, it's something like, I don't know. I can't remember if it's 10% or 30% of people who have COVID get brain lesions, which actually diminishes brain function. So we kind of are in a zombie apocalypse, oddly enough. But also I watch, like, zombie movies are my very favorite. And so maybe that's just on my mind because I've been watching a lot lately. I don't know. It's just and you can't even make content and try to be rational. No matter what you say as a creator, people will attack you, say the craziest shit about you. They'll stalk your family. They'll send emails to your boss. They'll like it doesn't matter what you do. There are people who do these things um, for fun, and I don't understand it, but it is what it is. I've worked really hard. I changed jobs and worked really hard to protect the identity of where I work. And you have to do that. I have cameras all over my house because I've been through the shit. And you see new creators. Um, you see new creators going through it. And it's so strange. So I would love to see this case resolved. I hope they have the right guy. I hope they have the evidence to back it up and not just some hollow confessions. The confessions we have seen are wrong. But I saw a thing with Nick McLeland the other day asking for funding for the read technique. You have to be fucking kidding me. But in Indiana, we are still stuck in the 1950s. Okay. So it all works. I don't know, Angel. It doesn't matter. It's just, it made me laugh, and it's all new news to me. And yeah, I don't know. So, the trial's coming up. It's a tiny courtroom. I'm not going. I have a nicotine addiction and a job. I don't know. I hope some kind of media with good shorthand or something can go in there and take good notes or something so that the public learns, our bloodlust and all that. It'd be even cooler if they let cameras in there or recording devices or something, or release the transcripts or anything really. Things done in secret are never good, of course. I don't think so. Some people may. It's fine. Read technique is basically a way to wear down a suspect. So using the read technique resulted in a tremendous amount of false confessions. There is massive documentation on it. And when reading one of the latest filings where Jerry Holman was yelling at Richard Allen, like, I know you did it and I'm going to find something on you and that kind of shit. That is the read technique 100%. It's coercion. We now know, fast forward to 2024, hell, even 10, 15 years ago, we know without a doubt there are better methods, much better methods. That don't involve just wearing a suspect down for hours and hours and hours until they're so stressed that they just confess to get out of being interrogated nonstop. It's pretty fucked up, actually. It's a form of torture. But our systemic problem is that they don't give a fuck. Really, the system just wants the money that they get from putting people in prison. Prison is a massive business. It makes so much money for the rich, and companies get free labor out of prisons. It is a modern form of slavery, and that's all true. There's a good, I know about this mostly because there's a guitar company named PV. They make PA systems and guitar amplifiers and stuff like that. And PV uses free prison labor to keep the costs of their stuff low, and then they sell it for high, and they make a fucking killing. And it's pretty messed up, honestly. And then we have a lot of private prisons that are huge money-making machines. The juvenile system is just a way to feed people into the prison system. It's disturbing. We can't do anything about it. It just is what it is. So it really comes down to good people sitting in positions of power, like judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, who give a shit about people, which is extraordinarily rare. But let's go to this. I kind of want to show you. Of course, it makes me watch advertisements on my own videos. Fantastic. Here, let me share the screen. Let's minimize so I'm tiny in the corner or something. So this is my video. I made it in 2019, but I re-uploaded it and did a voiceover of it again with newer information like 6-8 months ago or something like that. So basically, this is the path I take while filming this. Got to get that premium, buddy. Yeah, well, in my 5 years of covering this case, 4 or 5, whatever it is, I have, from YouTube, I've literally made a total of $300 total. I don't really care. I don't mind. I should get premium though, because as much YouTube as I do watch, just treat it like another streaming service. But taking you to bed with me, purple. Yeah, that's fine. I'll use a soothing tone of voice. So I have never been able to cross this bridge. It is absolutely terrifying. And I fell off a ladder as a teenager, and so I don't do heights. So I have to go this way, and it always confuses me. And a lot of people, this is just a confusing fact altogether. Where that start is a very clear path that leads. You sound like Frosty. Oh, hell no. There's a very clear path through these woods, leads you right to the crime scene. Okay. It baffles me why no one ran across the bodies that night. Look, in Indiana in February, it gets dark at like 5 p.m. Okay. I mean, it just does. I understand that. But even, you just with a flashlight, I would think, because you literally, there is a path straight to the crime scene from that pin where it says start. Yeah, there's a ravine. So the ravine starts on the west side of the cemetery here on the north of the page. And So you can park in the woods on the bottom left of the cemetery, and then you can just like jump down this little thing and you're on the ravine, and you just take the ravine straight down. I actually have video somewhere of me doing that, and I like slip like 4 times or something. But it's like not during a time of year where the leaves are off the tree, like it's full. Uh it was like late summer or something when I made that video. So it doesn't help to view that in that manner because you're not getting like the real idea of what it looked like out there. And there's other people that have done similar videos where they walked from the cemetery down. And actually the news channels and Ron Logan did it like 10 times in the like 3 days after the murders. So and I do have a video on my channel showing all of that. But yeah, it weirds me out that nobody just took this path and found the girls. Now, there is a guy out there, Eric Williams, who said he did go over there and did look and didn't see the girls, and that he also saw, he like went to a place and saw quad tracks, and there are, because this land, Ron Logan's land, not only had horses, I'm sure he had other devices to get around his property. But Eric Williams saw like bones hanging from trees in some area, and I'm not exactly sure where that is, but there's pictures going around that he used as an example. Those aren't the actual photos of what he saw. I think that needs to be clear, because I think sometimes people use them and say that they really are photos of what he saw, but they're not. They were examples that he used to demonstrate what it looked like of what he saw. So I'll start this. Yeah, my gimbal died, and so I was holding it by my hand. So this is right off the actual trail. Yeah, see, this is what it looked like. And then there's this path just through the woods, and these are sheer cliffs. So like right here, you look down, it's a sheer cliff straight to your death if you walked off that. You might be able to go down that if you had like ropes and stuff or something. But and you can see, I'm pretty sure people have always walked this path. Regardless, you just follow the rim, right? I'm gonna rip my vape while we watch, because I don't know if anybody's seen this, and it's hard to understand the layout of all of this. You know what's interesting about, even Ron Logan said it was pristine. I mean, it was his land. Yeah, you can kind of see how it just drops straight down. And my theory is that hung around with Janis Joplin. Darth Vader Hoosier. That sound. Oh, you're listening on headphones to my vape? I'm sorry. It's literally the opposite of ASMR. Apologize for that. But see, you just follow the rim around, and it literally takes you to the crime scene. And I'm going to show you that because I think it's, I wish I should have found the 4K video I shot instead of trying to play it off of YouTube. Let me switch to Ethernet here instead of wireless. Maybe that'll help. But this only goes to 1080p anyway. Creepy breathing? Was I creepy breathing? Maybe. I'm sorry. That's fair. Here, I can mute when I rip it. You can still see the bridge from right here. And these paths look pretty worn in. Now, were they there in 2017? I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure they were, though. But I don't know for certain. I hadn't been out there until 2019. Don't lick your nicotine patch, Luke. Don't do it. It is so beautiful out there, and it is very, very haunting. You just feel it in the air, the sadness, the tragedy. I hate we even talk about this stuff, to be honest. You know, there's this thing on the internet going around about the choice of being left with a bear or a man for women. And women, of course, choose a bear because of a variety of reasons. One reason is a bear won't rape them and then stalk them and then fuck up their life over a period of time while the cops can't do anything. While a bear might maul them and then the cops will shoot it, right? The cops actually do things about bears. And statistically, the majority of violence is men against women. The only natural predator, the only natural prey of humans, men, is women. And that's fucked up to think about. It really, really is. But that's the truth. So, okay, you can see the ravine now. You can start to see it. So this was in the middle of December. And was a decent day, actually warmer than the day of February 13th. So there's the ravine, and right across from there is Ron Logan's property. And you can see the kind of aisle there in the middle because the water's low. But I will point out that the water, it's not all the same depth. Oop. Froze a little. It's not all the same depth. There are spots where it's extra deep. And there are spots where it's obviously more shallow. So we're pretty much looking at the crime scene. You see that double tree straight ahead? Let me pause. So this ravine, if you follow it up, takes you exactly to the cemetery. Let me try to pause here. I'm just trying to figure out the best way to cross this. There's a little bit less of a steep grade. So, it's not the best pause spot. We'll come to it in a minute. There's a lot of weird symbolism in this case, and not all of us can identify the symbols. Actually, I don't think anybody's identified all the symbols. People know about that. The potentially the F, potentially the Hegel, But the one on Libby doesn't make sense to anyone. And then I think there's some importance. This is me walking down to the water. So if you take the ravine, it's a little less steep here and a little easier to walk from the water onto. If you look across, these embankments are like 6 foot tall easily, if not a little bit taller. And I do walk across this a little later, but over here, like in this corner, is where they probably had to walk across, and then over this, and then like over here and up, or similar, or even because it's not easy getting up these embankments. You know, we'll never know where they crossed or how they crossed exactly, or if they even did cross. Some people think, I just looked, sorry, it's so fast, some of it. Some people think they didn't go down this hill, you know, at this end of the bridge, that maybe they retraced their steps across the bridge and went around this path. Yeah, you cannot tell. I would highly recommend anybody that can do so to go out to Delphi, bring some hiking boots, and walk this. It will change your perspective. It might not, but it definitely changed mine. It is difficult, not impossible. I don't think the girls could have been killed in the water or anything like that, because honestly, you'd have to pull them pretty far and up a pretty steep embankment. That is the ravine. I'm still inside the ravine, and now I'm just coming up. And this barbed wire marks the edge of Ron Logan's property. And actually, his son, who now owns the property, just put up new barbed wire, like even further. So you walked it in your Crocs. Good for you, Phoenix. Because seriously, I was a Croc man for a long time. I love Crocs. And if you're gonna cross through the water, really the best thing is Crocs or hip waders if you have a set of hip waders. But Crocs work too, right? Or any kind of surf shoe, shit like that. All of Indiana. Adrian, am I saying that right? I'm so sorry if I'm not. I have some questions for you, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, we'll get there. We're almost there. All of Indiana is a burial ground, and it's all cursed. I believe that. I live in Tippecanoe, where Tecumseh prophesied the downfall of his people, cursed all the white men. Okay. Right in front of us is the crime scene, or is where the bodies were. Let's see if I can pause it here in just a second. Okay. Now I don't know for certain. I just want to say that. But this tree right here, the thicker one on the left, I don't know if you can see my cursor either. Maybe not. Yeah, a little bit if you're looking. That's the F tree. From my understanding, from my research and whatever. And this double tree is where their heads were facing. Now I've heard other theories, I think, but I'm pretty sure this is right. I could be wrong. I'm super curious about the symbolism of a double tree. Now, I googled a little bit, and there's an idea in Judaism about good and evil having the same roots. So, like, the double tree represents that in Judaism. Uh, according to to one scholar, it was like him discussing a theory on the nature of good and evil. Is there anything, Adrian? Is there anything in a Satru or related Odinism, whatever, about a double tree? Now, I know that Yggdrasil, or however you say it, the world ash tree is not two trunked. I know there's some Native American stuff about this. So if you guys know anything about symbolism and a double trunk tree, please put that in the comments. I would really Yggdrasil. I'll never be able to pronounce that. So I want you to envision this, and I could be wrong. I absolutely could be. But you come down from the cemetery and you see the F in blood on the tree, and then you look past that tree, and the girls are laid out in front of the double tree. And Libby has a phone under her shoe, under her back. To me, that all of this is super intentional. Whether it was staging to try to pin it on somebody or symbolically important to the killer, I don't know. And I think that was a struggle with law enforcement for a long time too, because they said staging, even though they did research the Odinism angle. Well, Holman talked about it for 3 years in the Facebook groups and on drives and blah, 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 blah. Well, I say that every time. But this was a presentation. Was it a message? I don't know. Oh, was it under Abby? I thought it. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. Was it a presentation? Was it? It sure seems like it. That's a hell of a stage with a lot of symbolism. And it's so weird. So very, very, very weird. They wanted them found that way. And I actually think the phone turning on at 4:33 a.m. not only does it say turned on, but as Yellow Jacket pointed out, it says accessed and turned on. The phone was accessed and turned on. Those are two separate things. It's like they went back and turned that phone on because they wanted them found. They wanted this crime seen. They accessed the phone, but they didn't delete the video. Like, I saw somebody mention that maybe, I think it was Yellow Jacket again. She's crazy brilliant. And I want to make sure I give credit to ideas that aren't mine to the right people. I think she said, it seems like they wanted that video of that guy on there. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. And what the fucks with this case, right? No, I've never seen a case like this. I don't think there's ever been one. that we know of. Uh, I even like back then I had no clue where the real crime scene was, and I even say that like in the video, like on the text on the screen. See, there's the there's the double tree, and see how branches stick out and stuff. And here's a big log. There's some sticks laying about because trees have a natural cycle of dying and that whole thing, growth and blah blah blah, breaking down. And then here I turn, and I'm pretty sure that's the F tree. I'm pretty sure. I don't. And what you're looking at is if you go straight up, that's the cemetery. Why were the girls treated so differently? Sorry. Why were there why was one redressed in the other's clothing? Maybe that's uh m- probably not purposeful, probably accidental, but maybe not. Um all this symbolism meant something to the killer, without a doubt in my mind, regardless who the killer ends up being. I don't know who the killer is, and we're gonna find out at trial at least about one person, right? Maybe, uh, you know. Yeah. So why park a mile down the road when if Richard Allen knew the area well enough to know where to cross, like the cops said early on, why not park at the cemetery? I would park my motorcycle. There's like literally a pull off where you can hide an entire vehicle in the woods in the back of the cemetery. And the cemetery is a hill, and you can't even see a normal car from the road on the back part of the cemetery. But then there's also a place to pull in back there. Like, it would be so much easier to just go down this froze up again. It'd be so much easier to park in the cemetery and go down this hill to that crime scene and then across and up to the end of the bridge or whatever. Like, if this was somebody who was really planning stuff out well, which is strange because there's no DNA, no fingerprints, no digital evidence that Richard Allen did it. Those were uh, the words of Holman and Liggett in court, who said that. That's a lot of crazy pre-planning, and I'm sure things don't go right. A lot of the reason a lot of killers murder again and again is because they have a fantasy they've had in their minds, and they're trying to play it out, and things don't always go exactly to their fantasy, so they have to change things and fix things and do it over and over until it's perfect, but it never becomes perfect. um, they either get too old or get caught or die in the process, something like that. But so right up there, so if you came down from the cemetery, you would see this tree with the F on it. The F is facing the cemetery. Don't know that for certain, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And the DoubleTree, their heads are facing the DoubleTree here. I'm pretty sure. Again, I don't know for certain. It's an entire... Hi, Lily. Good to see you. It was an entire, like, very purposeful, like, man, so friggin' weird. I can't make sense of it, honestly. I can't make sense of it being Richard Allen. I can't make sense of it. Who would want to frame Odinists if the symbolism is close enough to it? The Turco said they were wanting to represent Nordic runes or whatever. He wasn't full on like these are runes. He's like they were attempting to make it look like representative of or something like that. I'm not quoting it directly. And then so one more time. I actually, I had no idea where the crime scene was, and I stopped here and I turned because I wanted to look up the hill, and I took a screenshot of where I was standing okay, this brings up a good point too. Actually, strangely enough. So as I was standing there, I went to maps and opened it up, and that's where I was standing. And I screenshotted my phone. That's pretty fucking accurate, man. Look how accurate that is. It even knows the direction I'm pointing. And this was 2020. Okay. It's pretty accurate. I mean, that's exactly where I was standing. It's extremely accurate. I didn't even know in 2020 that this type of conversation would become a conversation at all. So it's always been said 50 feet from the water. And the water is south. They were north of the water. So I said, look how big that hill is. BG went out. The cemetery was a hell of a workout after already trudging through the woods, killing 2 girls, and then up that hill. He can't be too old. It's a lot. So my argument for that was that, he can't be that old. Back then, I didn't think Ronald Logan could be possible at all. But after the Ron Logan search warrant came out, I was like, whoa. He was in the air. And then I went back and I watched all those news clips of him walking down and up this hill and using his phone out there, and it's all on the news clips, and I compiled them and put them on a video on my channel. And so Ron Logan's weird to me, man. It's just as simple as that. He absolutely could go up and down these hills without any problems, and it's well demonstrated in the days after the murders with him 10 different interviews with news outlets, up and down, up and down. So I've changed my mind about this, but I can change my mind again. Just depends. I'm just some dude giving my opinion at any moment, trying to apply logic and explain why I think the way I think. So yeah, approximate crime scene location, which oddly enough was pretty accurate. Not really, but basically, I mean, really. Yeah, because at the time we had no clue where the crime scene was. And we only knew where the crime scene tape was. That's accurate because we had Ron Logan out there, and then J. Kyle Keener, I think, was taking photos, and then other news outlets were taking photos of the crime scene tape out there. And so I pieced all that together to try to figure out exactly where the approximate crime scene location was. And you can see now that I'm around the bend in the creek here, and that water's moving pretty fast. And that is like an island that sometimes gets covered up. And it's still like 3 or 4 foot drop right here to get down into the actual water. But I'm actually wearing Crocs in this, Phoenix. You'd be proud of me. Hey, Lipsha. Hi. So if you go around the bend, you can kind of see the bridge in the background there. Okay, so I cut. Oh. I was like, what is this? Oh, it's a commercial. Sorry, I'm ripping my vape while we watch this together and read the chat together. Hey, do you want to come up? Celebrating Goat God the Faunus too. I would like you to come up. Let me see if I can get this. Let me pause this, and I tell you what, I've got to stop sharing for a second so I can invite. Copy. Let me paste that. And then when you come up, I'll put it back on the background as we chat. Frocks. Okay, so I don't wear Crocs. I wear the Tread Safe Chef Clogs, or did. I actually went and bought a pair of Doc Martens because my friends make fun of me for wearing Crocs. Because I don't give a fuck. But the Doc Martens are really nice. I have like real wide flat. Whatever. Come on up. Crocs in front. It's fun to talk about real stuff sometimes, like Crocs. Oh no, you know what? I think for this I was wearing my combat boots. Not that I was in the military or anything. I've worn combat boots since I was a teenager. But I don't want to tie laces. So anymore. That's why I wear the Chelsea boot, which are slip on, or the Crocs, or my house slippers that I have on right now. All right, let's go back to this. I'll do what I need to when Adrian comes on. There we go. Let's give her a second.
Sorry.
Hi, you're fine.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I'm just gonna let this in the background as we chat.
Okay, cool.
And then we can talk about it or whatever. All right, lay it on me.
Okay. Well, so that's fascinating what you found out about the double trunk of a tree. And goat goat dog, they said that also in Victorian like era tombstones, people that had died together or were husband and wife or were a couple would often would have that symbolism too on their tombstones.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought maybe like the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. What if it was a double trunk tree? But there's no symbolism that points to that either.
Yeah. Well, there is the tree of life, and then there's also the tree of knowledge of good and evil too. So, yeah, I don't know, but that's fascinating, especially if that's like the only one in the immediate area,
It
which it kind of,
absolutely is.
yeah, yep. Sorry.
This is no, you're fine. This is me trying to find a way to get down to the water, like,
Wow,
efficiently. Like, it
it's so
is
pretty.
it's treacherous. It is absolutely beautiful,
Yeah,
very much so.
wow. Yeah, that's deeper than I would have thought, though.
So,
I
and then
mean,
you can see where it's a little bit shallower in spots. So, there is a real when Holman said that, he wasn't bullshitting, like, if
what did he say? What did he say?
about they think he's local because he knew where to cross.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
you could just use your eyes,
Yeah, yes.
but at the same time, when time is a factor, like, think how tight this timeline is. It's insanely tight.
Yeah,
And I
yeah. Are
mentioned
we go ahead, sorry.
for a long time, people have been saying they were killed in the water and then pulled up the edge. And what you don't see in the video is that that's like 6 feet tall,
Yeah,
and it would just and a 5'4" person, like, so much of
no,
this,
no,
yeah, is so strange.
no, 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 no.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess his jail in jail, it said 5'5". Those are like 8 foot tall. But then over in this far corner, it comes down to where you can actually walk onto the land pretty easy.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's really beautiful, though. And I'm guessing that area gets flooded?
I'm sure it does. What I'm
Yeah.
walking on right now, yes, because I have been out there one time where it was usually it's pretty low, but I
Uh-huh.
was out there one time, like, where and I wanted to cross, but I couldn't because it looked like you would die if you got in that water. It was moving so fast.
Wow.
So that's a good example of how tall that embankment is. And that's
Oh,
even
wow.
right here.
Okay.
The camera's kind of shifty. I apologize
Oh,
again.
no, this is absolutely fabulous footage.
If you see this hill in front of me,
Mhm.
it's 25, 30 feet up, straight up. And that is Kay Weber's property.
Okay. Okay. And you're saying it was kinda like that with, where the girls are found? It was, like, very steep too?
Not this steep,
Okay.
but behind.
Oh, wow.
Actually, that hill going from the scene where they were found up to
Uh-huh.
the cemetery is probably 70 feet in,
Wow.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah, no one's just going down that hill. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Going down this hill.
Oh, we've got anonymous true crimer. I don't know about this. I'll give you a shot.
How you doing? I don't have a problem.
Alright,
I
good.
definitely know this case real well. So
Excellent.
I'm on the same path as you guys. I think you guys are probably thinking it's not possible with Richard Daniels, and I'm going to give you my reasons of doubt of why. One, they have never ever recovered or said to the public a weapon of choice besides a pew pew, a gun. Correct?
No, they said a bladed weapon.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
but what I'm saying is, did they say that they found Richard Allen's weapons to match to that?
They did not.
They did not. Have
Just a
they ever?
bullet found.
Have they, like, all logic? Have they ever said his DNA has ever been on the girls? I.e., what Tobe said,
No.
there was a partial fingerprint underneath a hoodie, which we now know it's a black hoodie. Correct?
Mm.
Yes. Cryptex is
Also
here,
on,
everybody. One of my favorite
uh,
YouTubers. Very critical
also on.
thinker. Excited to have you, buddy. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Also, I did my research looking through the USGS meters, the water that day went up about 2 times the amount. I can't. I think it was like 6,000 cubic feet. It went from like 3,000 to 6,000 cubic feet within that time period. The temperature was an estimate about 34 to 36 degrees. This not including the wind and all. And the depth, if you looked at it, not from when they were searching, it would have been about waist high. So how did 3 people go across the water without facing hypothermia and survive and everything like this? And I looked at the pictures. I don't see indication of water on Abby. And that's what I've been asking. Was her shoes wet? Were her socks wet? Was anything wet? Plus, on top of it, plus on top of it, if you think about it, if Libby had, say, her phone in the pockets, it would have been waterlogged.
iPhones were not waterproof back then.
Exactly. Plus, on top of it, this is very interesting. I'm going to use Mike Patty's quote. The last ping occurred a couple hours ago. When he did the interview, it was about an estimate near 6 o'clock. They stated by the assistant chief that the last ping was at 2:39, and they searched in the area. I've also been told that there's been flare capability of drones. Nothing was picked up. The area was lit up like a football field, both which Jennifer Robinson stated, and I believe Ron Logan also stated this, correct?
Correct. Hey, can you give me just a second? Please hold that thought.
Not a problem.
Cryptex.
Not a problem. I've just been holding these thoughts for a long time, and thank you very much for allowing me up.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure.
I'm a TikToker, so.
Cryptex, you're not muted, so I'm not sure.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. We can hear you.
And hello to the young lady.
It's my first time calling to a channel, so I don't know how does it work.
Thanks for letting me.
I'm glad you can hear me.
Yeah, thanks for being my.
The question I have for you guys: do you remember how the fire department said that they were searching and they were kind of going underneath? I call it like monkeys, and they searched both sides of the banks. Do you remember that? Both north of the bridge and south of the bridge. Do you guys remember that interview?
I don't.
On HLO?
No, I don't.
I like I said, I wish I had everything with me. I remember so much in recall, but it was stated, I believe it was in the HLN podcast when they had the interview with the assistant main chief. Like I said, this person put out a lot of things that nobody knew about. Like there was kind of like little white lies and everything. Plus, I've saved a lot of things on Carter and his words, Nick Cohen. I remember a lot of you guys from a long time ago too. A lot of people thought I was crazy when I said there was more than one person involved. Obviously, when we hear it from the DA too, they even stated, "Oh, there could be more than one suspect." Said it on the first day, and remember how the defense like, "Huh? What? There's more than one suspect?"
Yeah, Burston said you can only see what's in the field of the camera. He wasn't. They weren't even sure back then if the voice matched the person on video.
Or let's go with I think a different one. He put it was the voice might not be the picture.
Right.
The two people on it. Plus, on top of it, I have a friend that was doing a little digging itself. It's kind of interesting. Some people think it's down the, and pardon me, do not use my words, please. Down the hill, guys, or guys down the hill, right?
Yeah, the noise is weird in between. I actually
and the voices have been too edited for anybody to try to figure it out. Same thing with the pictures and all. That's the bad thing about Delphi. Too many people in this social media thing. In one aspect at the very beginning, I think you guys could agree or disagree. We kind of did affect the case because of the speculations, rumors, and theories on it. Oddly, being an admin in that group, some of the things that we talked about, instead of being the F, it was the K. Some of it was said that it was on the body, if you guys remember that. And then some people were talking about, well, it could have been cold drinking. I just find it very interesting. 7 years down the road, or I could be off, all these rumors that we had in Facebook groups are coming alive. What I don't understand, and I don't care if people get mad at me, how does Derek not get arrested for driving illegally? How does Cody not get arrested for driving illegally? But Ron Logan does.
Well, I think
go ahead.
I think at the time, the reasoning for that is that they thought he could potentially maybe be the killer, and they needed to get him off the streets. Because when they went to talk to him, he's like, "Yeah, I've got a bunch of guns I'm not supposed to have." Who the fuck said that?
Exactly. Or let's add this one, find it very on it. And it's like they said, they lost a lot of interviews at the beginning. So you're telling me all that searching, all that cutting through the grass at Logan Maxwell's house? What happened? You tell me you lost the interview with Logan Maxwell? And you heavily searched his house for nothing?
Yeah, well, supposedly the story is that Jim Maxwell, Logan's father, was seen at the gas station, oddly enough, not far down this road and south a little bit, wearing the same outfit as the bridge guy.
I've heard the rumor was, and this is why I don't believe Remo or other people, they stated that they talked to a 16-year-old that actually panned a Logan walking the train tracks going to the house. But that, like I said, that's a rumor that was in the group. What I found very interesting is, and like I said, I had a friend that looked into all this. It's a little coincidence that there's a lot of people in that town that's got the same gun as Logan. And then I overheard this one the other day, and I was trying to see if you guys can fact check it more, because like I said, I've seen you guys enough on whatever. I haven't really commented. Where did you get the idea that it was a female hiker finding the bullet, and then all of a sudden they hand it over to the police department? If that's the case being, there's so much contamination, which Riley did mention this, that people were fecal and urinating in the area, finding cigarettes. I mean, I do agree with Carrie. There's a lot of contamination that did occur.
I never heard that it was a female hiker or anything like that.
I have the video on there. I could easily send it to you.
Yeah,
the YouTuber that has it. Yeah, I can easily do it a little bit later. Like I said, I've done a lot of things behind the scenes, but I'm not involved.
On the right-hand side, there's a private chat, and if you send the link in there, we'll watch it. We'll check it out.
Let me see. I believe I sent that to a DM of a person. Let me get that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cryptex, what are you thinking, buddy?
I'll wait and talk.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear me again?
Yeah, buddy.
As I was telling you guys, it's my first time here, so I don't know if my audio is good. Can you hear me well or not?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds great. That's good.
I don't know if I'm able to actually send this on here, but it's under Crime Chronicles Hub, Bullet Evidence Flaws, Delphi and Jerry Holman Statements. That's the source. Trying to see if I can make a copy of this, but that's the name of it. Is Bullet Evidence Flaws, Delphi and Jerry Holman Statement on YouTube. So you might be able to see that.
Found it. Let me take a look while we...
Okay. Who made this video? You made it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I made it
okay,
back
so
in
this is-
2020.
It's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's
like
awesome,
it.
man.
I had a
I like
gimbal
it.
for this part of it actually, so
It's really good. You did a
smooth.
really good job.
Do you
Nobody-
guys
What kind of
ever,
camera?
Hoosier, do you ever talk or ever say who you believe are the grifters on this case? Because there's been a lot of misinformation that have been in this case in which certain YouTubers have lied so much that I'm actually glad Gold said no to this one individual.
Yeah, I don't worry
I'm not going
too
to put
much.
names out just because
The
I'm not going to
thing
put
is-
names out, but I think you might know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The thing is it's not important. I mean,
Oh, I know.
it was at the time. Like putting out wrong information purposefully is terrible. But we can't prove it was purposeful or what it was. It doesn't.
Well, when
don't-
you have a person that comes up that really says, I lied of transcripts and then it's this and this, then they self admit it, and then you come to find out all he's doing is just for the money, that's wrong. You, nobody should be making, unless you're like I call term the professionals, can't stop them. But if you're an amateur
I think a
person,
lot
you
of
shouldn't be
people-
making money off a missing a murder case. You're not thinking about the family, really.
You know, the counter argument to that is that every news channel in America makes money off of every
Yeah,
murder
that's
case.
why I kind of said that. That's why I said that if you're an expert in everything else, we all know it's on there. But I'm saying is, if you're really that amateur and you really don't know what you're doing and you're affecting it, and you're just clickbaiting,
I could honestly
grifting, I think. I'm not saying you. I haven't seen it, but I'm seeing other people, and I've seen it with other crimes of cases. It's got to stop at some point.
It won't. The thing
Oh, I
is,
know it
though,
won't.
the thing is, though, is that we get, you know, some people have a passion and want to like report on their passion, want to talk about it, and they take it very seriously and they put in hard work and um you know, what people do with their own money is none of my business. So if you don't agree with it, then don't donate. It's really that simple ultimately. And
I can answer Lewis's question. In my opinion, it's both, Louise. But at least the good thing is, even though I'm not for it, it did keep the case out there by the name and all. It kept the face and everything out there.
it
That's
did.
the only good draw on it. But we're humans. Just forgive and forget. And if you really did it, at least if you're man enough, apologize to the family.
So I'm a member of a few channels because I just want to give my money to them because they bring me entertainment that I value and or knowledge and or both. And that's so I can't really be a person who's like, oh, you ain't grifting or whatever. Are there people out there begging for money? Certainly, but it's not my problem. I don't care.
I just feel if it's someone itself
There-
that's done it, I feel
There are
sorry
people
for
who
you.
trick people into giving them money,
Yeah.
and that's a crime. Kinda, is it? The cops don't give a fuck.
Well, as they put it is until differently. They put it is because I've made my complaint on a different one. They put it is it's kind of your own fault because you chose to donate to this person. It's nothing kind of illegal about it because he's got freedom of speech.
Let's go back to talking about the case
Yeah,
itself.
Sure.
I'd thank you. Appreciate that. So this is actually how it looked
Wow.
pretty much back in 2017.
Yeah.
It was just like some gravel on a path. It
Okay.
is
What
severely-
month was this one?
This was shot in December.
December. Okay.
Okay.
So very similar to how it would look in February.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's beautiful.
Temperature would probably be about the same, correct, Mr. Hoosier? Since you're a local.
The temperature was similar, although this day it was 57 degrees out. So
Okay.
or it was an exceptionally warm day for December.
For clarifications for some people, if you're from the area and you say it's about estimate 42 with 9 miles per hour, that would be considered kind of warm in February, correct?
In Indiana, dudes be out in shorts in that kind of weather. When after it's been cold, like the cargo pant shorts come out, flip flops.
Yep.
But you could see someone with a light jacket, like a windbreaker jacket and pants.
I actually
walking
feel like
in.
Rich Guy was way overdressed for that day.
If the hit and miss, like you said, if you're from the area, yes. But I look at it as when you have 42 degrees and you got 9, and I'm living kind of like close to your guys' area. I learned the temperature, especially with shade, it would drop lower than what you would have on there. So it could be a fluctuate of 39 to 42 depending on the wind.
We can fluctuate from like 60 to 15 degrees in between day and night. Yeah, it can really be nuts. Actually, just recently, I stopped having to turn on my heater at night and my air conditioner during the day.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, I have the data in front of me. From what I can tell, for the month of February, you had some good days, then some snow, a little bit of rain, and then like this. It was like the perfect day out of February.
Exactly. It was a great
day. And then a little bit later,
outside.
the other 2 days, it got a little bit warmer and warmer.
Enjoy nature at a beautiful place.
So I can see why
literally
this would be
nothing wrong with the girls wanting to go out there and enjoy nature. And,
now, do you know for being out there and all where this water source of Deer Creek comes from? Like, is it coming from? Go ahead.
Well, it dumps into the Wabash.
Of course. But I'm saying is it coming from like a big pond and then it goes in there?
No.
Is it like where is it coming from? Like, is it like a lake that goes in to do this and then goes into the river? Like, where's the starting point? I know Deer Creek's so big and long.
Let me see if I can find.
Because I've been trying to figure out how the water went from this, and then it raised up, and then it dropped.
So let me. Oh. Google Earth Pro. Zoom. Oh, so here's the Deer Creek.
Okay. Wow.
And it flows east to west.
Oh, okay.
And it dumps into the mighty Wabash over here.
Okay.
Past Trailhead Park.
Okay.
Where it starts.
Would it be Peru?
So it kind of, here's Deer Creek. Oh, I doubt it's that far, but who knows?
You're doing the same thing that I was doing, like trying to figure out this case by going what they call eliminating water sources.
Why?
Well, when you go searching and you're trying to rethink like what they think, you eliminate all major water sources when you're searching for a person.
So it just kind of runs off from the fields.
Okay.
It's not really
fields.
This might still be.
I think
it's super long.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think if you Google search it a little bit later, you'll come to find out where the starting point of why that Deer Creek is. I know that if you put enough water in it, that creek could turn into its own river. Like if you had a 10,000 flood or something like that. And I think if I read correctly, Kay Weber, Saunders, and Brad
So now
Weaver
it's going,
stated it was a little bit higher than normal, and it was during like the flood time.
I don't really
And I
see
think you
it.
can tell by erosions that area definitely floods. And I remember the Owens kids case, which I wish they found them. It was
It
kind of
goes all
high
the way
back there too.
past. It goes all the way past Kokomo.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Peru is
Yeah.
way up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it probably wouldn't connect up into, because I was trying to figure out if that river or where they did the search over near Klein's house had any water connection into it.
Nah.
I doubt it. But yeah. Anyways, back to this.
I don't see why people still think the Kleins are involved at all, because why would the prosecution tell the defense that they can't bring up the Kleins at all if he thought the Kleins were involved?
Well, if it was true, if you remember way back before they even said the Kleins, they stated that the Peru home, and I believe it was with even the FBI, saying there was no connection to the murder. They never said there was no connection itself on other, but the murder itself. And it kind of makes me question that statement, how they said that AS was trying to arrange to meet them there. If that was the case, being with Homeland Security being associated to it, you would think even by now with all geofencing and data dumps and you name it in the cloud, they would have seen this connection for that.
And they would have arrested one of them. Or both.
And I would have been saying, you know something, if this is true, you got to arrest Klein for at least an accomplice, because I know in the state of California he would have been charged for murder even though he didn't do it, i.e. Charles Manson case on it. Do you guys ever get the feeling that they're trying to cover up more than just the murder itself, like say any drug connection? Or I've been keep going back to there is a somewhat similarity, but not a connection with the Flora fire, because I find it very ironic that their interviews are almost identical. Some of the colors and everything else are identical. Like there's so much connections between these two cases. Have you guys ever noticed that?
Yeah.
I mean, potentially. There's we don't know. We just don't know. I'm just thinking common sense and logic sense, and I'm not reading the chat, but it's even for the chat to think like nobody talks about it, the Flora case, and I don't mind talking about the Flora case because they need the justice as much as these girls do, and it's sickening that they aren't really telling the public what's going on that case.
I think the reason that I have suspicion is just because, like, why are they going to so much trouble to not solve this? Or, like, why are they making so many obvious mistakes? Like, why, if they didn't want people to suspect them of anything, why are they being so sloppy or just refusing to, like, do the bare minimum for people having to come in?
Or the craziness, I didn't even know about this until the other day. Diener resigns? The original judge resigns?
Well, he like retired.
Why and how?
Why I mean, how? It's interesting, but it could just be as simple as he's just wanted to retire. I mean, he only gave like a week's notice or something like that.
Yeah.
A short time span.
It's just
maybe
my
more
blessing and prayers is to you for living in Indiana. I just look at it as just for the history of the state and all. It's always been corrupt. It's going to be corrupt, and I find it of the similarity oddity is they never pursued the real justice with American Green, who was unalive, and these people of 150 did it to him, and it was at that same Delphi jail, and then all of a sudden you have this thing, and they're worried about things about him being unsafe that they put him in a prison during detainment, which is unheard of. I'm going to be the person to say, and you guys don't. There's way too much violations going on civil rights. Way too much constitutional rights been violated in the states, but for some reason, the DA and Gold don't want to say that to the public. But I'd love to hear your guys' take on it.
That's what I think. I think Eye of Apophis is dead on. He's under investigation. I mean, we can't know, right? This is all speculation, but I think he's under investigation.
I think it's irrelevant, but this is very interesting. No, there's no public records of finding on Ron Logan's death of a death certificate.
What do you mean?
If that's the case being, legally speaking, he's not dead, despite they tell us he died from COVID, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
If you guys can find that's the challenge I have for anybody is if you can find the death certificate, I'll go away from that statement. I'll apologize on it.
So the Ronald Logan death.
I look at all of this, like all these things are hiding. They're all hiding things. It just looks too staged out to make it pass it because they so emphasized on Daniel Nation. Then they did all these other people, and then they still haven't even say I cleared Charles Eldridge. It's like you got all these persons of interest. You say we will again. Now I'm use Tobe's statement. We will not use the word of cleared. We will say covered. Well, that's kind of interesting. We find on the BAC and all, you were clearing people. You cleared sex offenders right away, especially the one of Ivan Brumbaugh's son that was right down the street. But to lose interviews in the very beginning, if that's not a red herring, scratching your head, I don't know what to say.
I think it's possible that there is some attempts, and some of this is to cover up mistakes. I think that's entirely possible. I think, there were large money thefts, weird land deals.
Let's add the finding out about they had gold over near the falls and all, and those people, Panners, can't be there anymore.
Oh, the Panners aren't allowed to go there anymore?
I'm talking about that big group that had the Oktoberfest.
I remember seeing those videos.
Yeah.
There's a rabbit hole.
They have their gold penny people, but that group, they're not there anymore. They haven't gone back there.
Maybe they got it all. I don't know.
No, it's glacier gold. It's kind of impossible. But like I said, until I talked to the historian, and I'm talking about text-wise, I was amazed of all the things. Like, I never thought I'd be doing a history of knowledge of Delphi, because I don't know nothing about Delphi. I did now. Same thing for the state. And I was like, wait a minute, this is part of my American history. This is part of the Erie Canal Wabash. It's connected to it.
Yeah.
I'm just more amazed on how almost an accuracy you had about this for your walk and all. Like, did you ever attempt to try to walk across that dangerous bridge?
I have never. No. I went down every time I went to the south end of the bridge. I went through the creek first to get there.
No, this is like I love this. I can't wait to see this in trial and how they're going to pull this off. You're going to convince me a guy that is 5'4", that is obese, walked across that bridge or stride across that bridge in 6 minutes? I don't think so. I'm more athletic than that person. I don't think so. Not possible. Especially with that big gap.
Yeah,
Plus,
man, the thing about psychopathy, or
Mhm.
think how bold of an action it was to abduct and murder 2 girls in broad daylight while other people are on the trails after looking right at them.
And you had other people. It's like this. These 2 girls are unalive, supposedly by Richard Allen, but you had all these other minor people that saw him and he saw them. He never tried to take their lives. Plus, on top of it, this is what I will put it to you, and I gotta go back to my TikTok. The question is, why didn't Riley or Rayleigh, I'm not gonna give last names, Bree, and the other one, which are locals, never said when they probably went to CTS, "Oh my goodness, he's right there."
They had the trail blocked
You know what I
off
mean?
after the murders for a long
Yeah.
time.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
I
ask
had
you
to go
what
But
out.
it wasn't totally blocked off. You could go around the thing. That's the
Correct.
funny part.
Yeah.
But you
Okay.
get what I'm saying is these witnesses that are minors with their parents that go to CDS, like almost everybody in mama knows each other. You're gonna tell me not one of them in that even 5 years point out, wait a minute, he's right there the whole time. Especially when supposedly Riley, I think it was Riley that took the picture of him,
No.
or who was it?
Nobody took a picture of him other than Libby with her video.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about BG. I'm talking about taking the picture of the person that was kind of weird on the trails when they passed each other.
Nobody did that.
Okay, so
The pictures she took were of her and her mom and her and her friends.
She didn't take a picture of a person and send it to their parents like some creepy guy was here.
So it wasn't blocked off until after the murders, like Exodus. What was it made you think it was him? Made it think who was him? Chaos Kitty. I like your name, by the way.
Yeah, that's a cute name.
Because I have kitties and they are definitely chaos.
Yeah, they are.
I'll be watching you guys by listening, but unfortunately, I got a life that I gotta go to.
Okay.
I'll see y'all later. I'm on
Okay, yeah.
TikTok. Eventually, I'll let you guys know who I am, and eventually, you'll be like, "Oh, it was this person. I know who this is."
Anonymous.
Anonymous.
Yeah. All right.
Believe me, Hoosier, you probably might know who this is at some point.
Okay.
But God bless you all. Thank you very much. I've been waiting to talk to you for a while. I deeply say I'm sorry for showing you in the past on other accounts because I was looking at how people were not totally on the case, but I'm deeply sorry for that, if that's okay with you.
Say that again.
I can guarantee I did troll your accounts when you've had things in the past.
Oh, that's fine, man.
But at least I'm being man enough and apologizing to you, okay?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, you know what? Trolling makes us think. I don't know. There's
good trolling, bad trolling, and indifference. And all I can say is, if you're going to be a bad trolling, it's not worth it. It really isn't.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody I did and I affected, I'm deeply sorry, and I really mean it. It's about the girls, and it's really about the girls, not us.
That's awesome of you.
So God bless you all. Have a good day. I will see you guys in the future.
You as well. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Oh, okay.
If you put yourself in that situation, knowing the terrain, is it reasonable the girls ran towards the other side of the creek to escape? See, it doesn't make any sense to me that they ran toward the water to cross it. When houses are all around right where they were. And as you guys saw me going back up to there, just run to the private drive, and the private drive up to the bunch of houses back in there. And he had to have controlled them. And a lot of people have a problem with, like, why cross the water? Because it was very cold.
Yeah.
Water wasn't warm by any
No.
means.
Yeah.
Risking hypothermia, even potentially.
Um,
And
yeah.
Ken Main said he thought it was a failed abduction. I trust his instincts. He's one of the best in the history of the world.
Who is it? I'm sorry.
You're fine. Detective Ken Mains.
Ken Mains?
You should go watch his channel. He's very good.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Vidocq Society?
No. Vidocq?
So Vidocq was Vidok. I think that's correct.
Okay.
It was a secret society of retired investigators and active ones too. But they would get together in quorum over solving cases.
Okay, cool.
And Ken Mains has assembled a similar group.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Did he study psychology?
Yeah. I mean, he's not like a psychologist. He has like a huge record for solving cold cases.
That's really cool. And that's just the name of his channel, is his name?
Yeah. I mean, there's a little more to it, but if you search Ken Mains, you'll definitely. He's been on a ton of specials on television, all kinds of stuff.
That's really cool. Oh my gosh, this is like terrifying. the bridge.
Yeah. The bridge is the beams are exactly 10 feet across.
10 feet across.
And
did you say 50 feet or 50 yards from the water where the girls were?
50 feet.
Feet, okay. 50 feet.
Wow. Unsolved No More, Thank You, Sees Through is the name of his channel.
Unsolved No More, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check him out. You studied psychology too, right?
I only took a few classes in college, and then I just am fascinated by it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating.
I just read books that I can get a hold of, and because that's, to me, I'm a big fan of FBI profiling, and not that it's an end-all be-all to solving crimes or anything, but they take statistical data. They went and interviewed as many rapists, serial killers as they could, and there are similarities between all of them, and those similarities help, they classify what type of killer they were, the similarities between all of those types of killers, and then they can create a profile from the statistics that they know.
Okay.
And so that's how that works. It's not, there is a point where it becomes an art form. Because it's still open to interpretation or whatever, and it doesn't necessarily solve crimes, but John Douglas was really working towards
Douglas
using it to catch serial killers. And there are some classic techniques that they do use because they like to return to the scene of the crime. And one time when I was out there at the crime scene with the Captain Howdy and Anthony Greeno, oddly enough, we found a trail camera pointed right at the crime scene. And so I think they were definitely banking on the killer returning.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just a bunch of stupid YouTubers trampling all over the place, trespassing on Rothman's property or whatever, but of course.
But what do you make of there not being like a quote unquote sexual aspect to it?
I absolutely do think there is.
Okay.
A knife. Well, okay. It gets complex because in the absence of penetration, there's usually penetration with a knife, sexual homicide,
Yeah.
and they weren't penetrated with knives, they were
No.
cut.
Yeah.
Although potentially the draining of Abby was a form of penetration. Even he could have.
Yeah.
So I talked about this before, but Dennis Sinkovich, his brother, was related to the case in a way. He's a law enforcement, and
Okay.
had told him that they thought he masturbated out at the scene, but
Yeah.
took it with him.
Ugh.
So,
How
like,
does that
maybe,
work?
well, maybe masturbated into a condom, and the condom wrapper
Oh,
was left out there, something
okay.
like that. Or I don't know how they'd know that.
Yeah.
That's really weird. That's my best theory of why they would know that.
Right.
Uh,
Or just, yeah.
my question is, if it was for sexual gratification, or we're in a different time than the serial killers of the past, where
Yeah.
a serial killers have the opportunity to take photographs of their work, and this scene especially, I
Yeah.
would, the temptation for the killer to take now, uh um Samuel Little,
Yeah. Yeah. I think
he
that's right.
could draw
Yeah.
every single woman he murdered from
Mm.
memory. It
Okay.
seared into his brain.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily need to take pictures or anything,
Mm.
but being in a different time, I don't know. There,
Do you remember in Ron Logan's search warrant when the FBI was seizing um, like like electronics that could record stuff? Um, do you kind of
yeah,
remember that? Okay, because like
I think they thought he potentially did.
yeah, so the like I when I was over on Criminality's channel, I did like a thing on the runes and stuff. And a lot of people in her chat were like, what if you invert it? What if you did it in selfie mode and you look at it? And then all these inverted runes weren't inverted anymore. They were like normal.
Or
And it
even in
ended up
three-dimensional
looking,
space is
yeah,
another thought experiment too. Like, so if
yeah,
you're looking at it, if from the images that people have seen,
yeah.
that's one way to look at it. But if you're standing there, it's going to look different as well.
That's true. And then like I know the moon was out that night because it was in its waning gibbous, but like so it would have risen at like 9:40 or something. So, technically like okay, bye. Sorry. Um the like there still would have been enough moonlight out, like especially if it had risen enough because it also set at 9 in the morning. Um, and sunup wasn't until like 6:40 or whatever. So like the fact that it could have still have been illuminated, you know, um, enough to get down there and see where they're going, but like it still would be kind of treacherous in my opinion, you know?
Absolutely, especially with sticks and twigs on the ground
Yeah,
or in the
yeah,
steep terrain.
yeah. On
Uh,
a good day, like with the sun out, I would be tripping all over myself. So, you know.
it's fair. Some people.
And I was a woods kid. Me and my brother, we played in the woods all the time. So,
Oh,
like, yeah.
somebody's asking who you are. There we go.
Oh, hi. I'm just a weirdo.
That's fair. No,
Yeah.
uh, we. I've seen you on CJ's, and
Mhm.
your insights into Asatru and Odinism have been great, and so I wanted to talk to you about
Yeah.
the double trunk tree. And
That's really cool, dude. I
in
wish I had more.
in my
Um,
research, I couldn't really find anything related. But like, were they trying to blame it, or a mixture, or it, it was staging, or were they did they watch friggin' Harry Potter or something weird and come up with that, or True Detective and tried to make it look like that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. I think they were probably very influenced by, like, at least True Detective season 1, you know. So
Season 4 was great, but season 1 is the best season, and
yeah, that's
it
my
was
favorite.
very eerie, and it was like with the horns and the little like bird cage stick things, and
Weird, very weird. But it's kind of like it would be interesting to know like how many people do that out in the woods, you know, like if you were to go through the FBI database and be like the stuff that was outside, like how many crime scenes had sticks involved in some sort of configuration. It would just be really interesting to see if that's common, because like it's already super uncommon to have the whole like 2 young girls go missing.
there aren't very many cases like that for sure.
Right. In the middle of the day, outside, like there's already all these like anomalies. So then what would, on top of that, like sticks being involved and then blood on a tree be involved? Because yeah, like we don't know, we can't really know what the rune is on the tree, if it's even a rune.
What kind of mind
But
comes up with this shit too? Like,
well, so if somebody's really interested in mythology, and kind of ancient pagan practice, like there's a whole bunch of inspiration. So like they
true.
call like in bloats and stuff, like where they're doing a sacrifice, it's usually an animal. They usually collect the blood and then they take the blood and they sprinkle it. But you can also use, you know, it to paint on trees and to kind of it's
We've
yeah.
seen somebody on his Facebook page do that.
He did exactly that. So like there's probably like I would recommend everybody down in Indiana go just when you're going on hikes and make sure you bring like a taser or something with you.
Yeah.
Like I would just keep a lookout for trees and see if people have been painting on them.
I'm red green colorblind, so I would probably
Oh,
never notice, honestly.
oh
The F actually looks like an E to me because the moss and the blood are very similar.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's
I
really
had
interesting.
I had a friend who like colored it so
Hmm.
that it was like yellow and blue,
Oh,
so I
okay.
could see it.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's like disjointed, but that
Yeah.
right angle at the top
Right.
is very
Yeah.
purposeful.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
me, I don't, it could have been the P or an E.
Could have been a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like there's so many runes that start with the one vertical line, you know. But yeah, like in chat, the full moon in February in 2017 was Saturday night. It was the 11th. So the fact that Ron Logan's having people over either then or the night after,
I don't
like,
know if that's true,
oh, okay, okay.
but it's been a persistent rumor since the very beginning.
Okay, yeah. Because, like, if they're doing, there was a thing, so in ancient Rome, like, the Ides was like the full moon. And they kind of like developed their calendar based on the Ides, and then 2 other things within the month. And for February, it was a celebration of Faunus, who is like the Roman equivalent of Pan, who
Mm,
is a little,
impish goat
yeah,
boy. Yeah.
yeah.
With
Some
furry
people,
legs and hooves.
yeah, some people kind of consider him,
Plays a
like,
lute.
yeah, he plays the lute. Yeah. So, I just thought there's like a ton of overlap with a ton of pagan stuff too. So, like, you know, people
So
who are,
I
oh,
just
so
learned this the other day. I just want to jump in while I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
The the Vikings come from they're Germans.
Yeah. Well, so originally, yeah, like all those Indo-European peoples that came up and stuff, like they're finding now a connection between the Slavic peoples and the Germanic peoples. But yeah, they were originally German and they went up into, Scandinavia and stuff, and then
Yeah.
they came back down, they started raiding
Yeah.
and
Well, because it was
being
hard to they overpopulated past
Mhm.
the ability to grow.
Yeah,
It's like very rocky, and they can't like
right.
grow wheat and stuff. So they had to kill animals
Yeah,
and stuff. And when the population got too great, they had to start
right.
killing
Yeah,
people to get more resources and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
and take their land and stuff. That's why they went into England for
But it's
sure.
very fascinating that when you consider the white supremacy
Oh yeah.
aspect of all of this and how they consider Odin and Asatru, or however you say it, sorry,
Yeah.
to be a pure white religion. And it really traces back to Germany, and we all know that history as well, where the United States literally fought wars against that shit. And it weirds me out, honestly.
And now it's like a major fascist movement within
I
the
am
United States.
anti-fascism.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's pro-fascist Americans is the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah. It should be really weird, You're normal. That just means you're normal.
Yes.
Because, there's not an us versus them kind of thing. But if you grow up your
It is
whole
for
life.
them.
Yeah, exactly. If you get indoctrinated into that, and like now, especially with what All Eyes on Delphi has done, she's finding that like online stuff, they're always finding these people who are really marginalized or they don't have anybody in their life and they're trying to find a place where they fit in. They're young, impressionable. And so, they find these outlets and the outlets just scoop them up. And then before they know it, like the person that they never had a problem with before, they're like, well, I don't like you because your skin is darker,
There is online grooming of children into fascism, and
Yep.
it's super scary and weird.
Dude, and that's what All Eyes talks about in her documentary. It's like a 2-hour long. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, she goes into like the nine angles or the order of the 9 angles.
Okay. The Order of the Nine Angles is so scary. Excuse me. To become a member, they have to kill someone. And one time I was with a friend of mine, and he and I went to a flea market, and because it had a black metal record store inside
Oh,
of it.
cool. Yeah.
And he had a guy with him that was not white. And we came out, we went back outside, and my friend was like, he had an Order of the Nine Angles tattoo. I said, what is that? And he said, it's really bad.
Did you get the hell out? Did
yeah.
you get Good. Jesus.
But it made me super concerned for that guy that was with him. And maybe he reformed, out of jail or something, the owner of the black metal shop, but like, it's in our society, and you would never necessarily know unless you know what the symbols mean.
Right.
And a lot of these KKK and Odinism is not racist in and of itself. It's been hijacked by racism.
It did kind of start off that way,
In
though, just because.
prisons, yeah, it gained a lot of steam that way. Yeah.
Well, wasn't there a lady like Elsa Christensen or whatever? She was like an actual Nazi, and then she came to America, and then she kind of like met up with McNallen. I can't remember all the people, but this was like in the 70s and it went into the 80s. I'd have to go back and rewatch All Eyes' documentary, but like everybody now embraces the 9 noble virtues in heathenry and Norse paganism, and they don't understand that those 9 noble virtues are from like the Odinic rite, like that was started by like the Nazi lady with like her
Oh,
group.
geez.
Yeah. And it's just like a common accepted thing now. So if you don't go down those rabbit holes, you never know. But, luckily there's places like, or like YouTube channels like Ocean Keltoy or Wolf the Red, like they talk about that kind of stuff and how there are all these new dog whistles that are happening too, because the old ones are getting found out and called out on. So
do they have to like come up with new ones now, I guess? Yeah.
yeah, there's just a bunch of really like stuff that wouldn't seem bad, but now is like become bad. Like I'm pro American lives or something. Like even I don't think it's like that wording or whatever, but it could be something that mundane that is now like, oh, I'm an Odinist or I'm a racist.
There
You
was
know,
a phrase I learned of the other day, and honestly, I can't remember. That is how you identify other people in the KKK. It was like, "Do you know Mister Something?" I was like, "What the hell?"
there's shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. And
Yeah,
like everybody, like this case has everybody kind of dividing people again with like conspiracy, not conspiracy. But like, I mean, is it conspiracy if there's so many things that line up that are really bad? Like, and like, is it conspiracy if there really are these groups of people that really do like they really are fascists. They really are racist and like I don't know. So
it's super prevalent in our society.
it really is. Yeah. Um yeah, like Preco Sinks is saying dog whistles and hand symbols. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is now
Okay,
this is
from the Proud
yeah,
Boys, yeah.
yeah.
And they have, the Odinists have the shocker. That's
What is
Vinlanders. This is the Vinlander symbol.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
And
Because it's a
okay.
VI.
Oh,
And,
that's smart. Okay.
also something else, the design on Libby kind of looks like the VI to me a
Does
little.
it?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
it could
You
be.
know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all
I
things should be considered, so
my problem is I have so many questions, and when you just look at the things of this case, not just take out emotion, take out any preconceived ideas, and you just look at like Ron Logan's search warrant, you look at the recent search, all these documents with facts in them, and then it's like, okay, this is really strange.
yeah.
And like Elvis Fields, he
Yeah.
tried to give away a blue jacket on the 14th, and
Yeah.
an image of Bridge Guy was released on the 15th.
Woof.
And the video was released on the 22nd with audio, or the audio was released on the 22nd. Sorry.
Yeah.
Down the hill was. And so like, regardless if you believe the part about Elvis Fields and the sticks in her hair, he still tried to give his sister a blue jacket immediately after telling her that he was there with 2 girls in the woods where they were murdered and spit on one of the girls' bodies, like on the 14th.
He has guilt knowledge, man. Like, why wasn't that a bigger deal?
It
Did they
should.
just think, yeah, why didn't they think,
And his
did they,
phone was at
yeah.
home for 8.5 hours,
Yeah.
untouched, no scrolling.
Right. And then, like, you look at his
It's not
record.
an alibi.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
why
when you look
can't,
at his history,
right.
every other time
Yeah.
ever, there's
Yep.
consistent
Yep.
usage.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I guess one of the guys does show back up going to the gym at like 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and he's talking about testosterone and like,
Yeah, yeah. But
fuck.
he is in that location because like it pings there, but like can it be manipulated? Like there's so many things that I would love to learn about geofencing and pings and stuff, because that's really going to help like show that Alan wasn't even there, possibly. Like
The
if the
accuracy
ping,
of geofencing is in the name, geolocation. A
okay,
ping is when they're actively looking for the connections to towers
okay,
of a phone, because a phone is always reaching out. Hey, are you the strongest signal? Are you overworked? Do I need to ask a different tower? And it's hitting all the towers from a 20 to 40 mile radius.
yeah.
And Lafayette's only 20 miles away. And so depending
But
on the size of the ring, like it's
yeah,
hitting a ton of towers technically.
but you were saying that Yellow Jacket said not only was the phone turned on, but it was accessed.
So that's actually what it says in
Oh,
the
okay.
document that we
Yeah,
got recently.
yeah.
So that means they logged into the phone, like opened the phone and accessed it in some manner.
Wow. So, I mean, like they would have to know then what the
Might not
code
have
was.
had a password. Could have been as simple
Oh,
as it was powered on and
oh,
swiped.
oh, okay.
Back in those days,
Okay.
you didn't have to have passwords on things.
Yeah, I can't remember. Like it's only 7 years ago now, but I'm like, I can't remember if I had like a password. I'm sure I did to get into my phone, but like I can't remember. So, you know, but um Rick in the chat earlier had brought up how the double trunk could have been like a reference to Needhogger, who is this little serpent dude. Well, he's a big serpent dude in Norse mythology that likes to eat at the roots
Oh,
of,
interesting.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Let me Google that.
Yeah,
How do you spell that?
it's like NIDH.
Oh, I was way off.
I know, I'm like
HOGG?
Hoggr, Nidhogger, I think.
There it is. Here, let me share. Oh, I'm still sharing. That's convenient. Let's just do this. So there's the
Yeah.
dragon who gnaws at the root of the world tree. Oh, well, that's cool looking. But yeah, sorry, I don't.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
like
I mean, these are probably video game images or whatever.
yeah.
A lot of video games use the imagery
They
and
do.
the mythology to use as
They do a good job too. Like my husband and my brother, like some of the games that they play, they're like, "Is this accurate?" And I'll be like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And then they explain it, and I'm like, "Yeah, like somebody did their homework. That's really cool."
they're probably Odinus. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Like, let's hope not. Oh my god.
Lord.
Yep, there he is.
Oh, wild.
So, and then I think there's like a ton of wells, like the well of Mimir and the
The
well of
status of a
Weird.
villain,
Yeah.
implying the loss of honor and the status of a villain. Oh, weird.
Oh wow. Neath. Okay, because there's a thing where there was a curse that the Vikings used to do, and this is in a lot of sagas where they would kind of they would behead a horsey and they would put the horse's head on a stick and they would face that stick in the direction of the person they wanted to curse. And that's the Neath, like the Neath song or something.
It's as big as it wants to go.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, kind of looks like a horse.
I know. Yeah. Well, and they think too that Yggdrasil, well, when you break it down, Yggdrasil is Ygg is a reference to Odin, and I think it means something like terror or something. And then the Drasil has to do with like a horse or a steed. So when you are kind of like, I don't know, if you're somebody into practicing shamanic ritual where you try to go into altered states and trance and stuff.
I did in my younger days.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
I didn't
you
know.
can.
I didn't call it that. I just
Oh, I see.
called it a
I
Saturday night.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotcha.
man. I'm just sorry.
Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha.
You know, there's a rich history of hallucinogens and religion, and it's extremely normal. And even even like Native American and hanging from a tree with eagle claws, the
yeah.
pain induces hallucinations, and you go on your spiritual journey, and you come
Yeah.
back a man. And
Yeah.
a lot of cultures used hallucinogens as like a transition into adulthood type thing, where you confront
yeah.
death and
Yep.
figure out your life's purpose, kind of thing.
Yeah, like the
So,
native peoples in Australia with their walkabouts,
yeah,
you know? Yeah. They had to go and be out in the wilderness. I guess there's a ritual in like I don't know if it's carried over into modern Norse practice, like Norse pagan practice, but they used to like tie a kid to a tree that was in a cemetery or around burial mounds, or a young dude, like a young boy. They would tie him to the tree and he'd have to like just be out there all night with like the spirits and stuff. And then there was also this ritual that they would do where they would sit under a gallows tree and they would try to commune with the dead. And they thought that because there was a dead person hanging in the tree, that they could ride along with them in their transition into the underworld and stuff. But you had to sit out there all night in the dark by yourself, kind of thing. So I'm like, I could never do any of this. So
one time my buddy and I ate acid, and there's a place in Indiana called 13 Graves,
ooh.
and it's in the middle of nowhere in Indiana, and we're sitting, and it's a circle of trees around this graveyard, and we're sitting there with no flashlights on or anything, and our jugs of orange juice, and we're just sitting there like just because that's what you do in Indiana when you're young.
Yep.
And I was like, this tombstone over here is really freaking me out. My buddy turned on his flashlight, and it was my orange juice carton. We laughed
I
for like
love
an
it.
hour and a half, and then went about. And it's called 13 Graves because there's like these concrete, look like vaults sticking out of the ground near the front of the cemetery. It's a very, very old cemetery, a few hundred years old.
Wow.
And when you walk one direction, there's 12. When you walk the other direction and count them, there's 13.
Ooh.
But it's like an illusion because it looks like it's the same piece when you walk one direction, and it's a different piece when you walk the other direction.
Yeah, that's creepy. And they're all they're all like of people buried there.
I don't think they are. I think they were just
okay.
concrete. I mean, it's just
gotcha. Yeah. I mean, we used to do the same. We have okay, so Central Illinois is where I'm originally from, and there was a famous it's a very old cemetery too, but there's like I forget what it was called, but it was like this circle of graves in the middle of like this field, and the rest of the cemetery is like kind of woody with trees and stuff. It's really scenic and stuff. You can drive through it, but like this is in the middle of like a field and a clearing, and it's like everybody can see. So a ton of kids would go out there on Halloween and, they
Party.
smoke a bunch of dope and get into trouble. But yeah, there's cemeteries are places where like I would go looking for, if I were an investigator, like interested in kind of following around some of these practices that modern people do, I might check out cemeteries too, as well as keep an eye out on trees for just anything that's painted on them,
Yeah. I'll have to keep an eye out
Yeah.
things painted on trees.
Well, you saw some scary stuff out there because I saw that there, you were like, oh, there's a tent over there.
It
And
was weird, and it looked like somebody was in it.
yeah.
I like pulled out my 357 and I was
Ooh.
like, hello. I don't know. People have been murdered out there.
Yeah.
Garrett Kurtz is a serial killer who, was familiar with that area and everything.
Garrett
And
Kurtz.
yeah.
Is he dead now?
No, he's in prison now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, when was this?
Only a few years ago.
Okay. And was he around Delphi?
Yeah, and he was related to Ron Logan and there were pictures of him with Ron's horses and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of strange coincidences with this case.
Yeah.
There really, really are.
Wow. That's crazy, dude. That's just crazy. He was a serial killer.
Technically, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, there's so much strange. Thank you so much for coming on and
thank you for having me. Yeah, like
this idea of the double trunk tree.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm definitely gonna look into it. If I find anything, I'll let you know too.
Yeah, please do. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, everyone, 2 hours. I guess I enjoy doing these longer lives. Appreciate you all coming on. Trial's coming up soon, and it's cool that you all chose to hang out with me for a little while. So appreciate y'all. Take care.